Let's talk about forgetting anything and everything, and embracing everything.
Necronomicon is coming.
So today I thought I'd talk about the ultimate achievement of any practitioner of magic, and that kind of headspace that you get into when you really step into ritual and when you really hit a high point. I'm talking about the state of Gnosis. Gnosis kind of has to do with being in that mental space where you are where you are in the physical, in the mental, and in the astral. Forgive my indigestion. All at the same time. Now, this kind of state can be achieved in many different ways. You can achieve it through meditation. You can achieve it through ritual. You can use different substances, some of which might, not be legal in your area, your country, or what have you. But the ultimate way to achieve Gnosis is, of course, without mind-altering substances, because it is your own mind getting you there, and it has nothing to do with an extra vehicle or an extra means of achieving that. Now, it is the hardest thing to do, to be able to train yourself to hit that Gnostic state, or at least when you think about it, it's the hardest thing to do, because you're like, dude, I have all of these like bills and, all of this stuff to clean. I mean, look at my bookshelf, I think about that sometimes. And you get kind of caught up in those things. It's the same thing in meditation. When you try to just lose all of those thoughts, anytime you're trying to meditate, you're focusing on your breathing, and a random thought comes by, and then you have to kind of throw it out, and then you have to refocus. Being in a Gnostic state means those random thoughts don't show up, and you're just being. You're not thinking about the past, you're not thinking about the present, you're not thinking about the future, you're just being. And a lot of people might say that has to do with being in the present. However, if you truly hit a Gnostic state, there is no past, there is no present, there is no future. You're just being. It's as if time itself does not exist. So ways of achieving Gnosis, like I said, it's meditation, it's ritual, it's, use of different substances, but the most effective and the hardest to reach would have to be using your own mind. Now, as of recent events, I know I haven't posted a video in a little while. I'm not sure how long, maybe a month. I have been able to unlock the last part of the Necronomicon, which would be the Aurelia text. And in the Aurelia text, you are working with the abominations, or those beings of emotion, which of course we don't like to address, we can't control, so of course they're abominations to us. That has to do with the gate of Arzir, the gate that is beyond the stars. If you think about it in an allegorical sense, has to do with those things that are unseen, those things that we just feel. And I unlocked the gate. I have passed into it about, I think, 3 times now, just to work on a couple of different things. And you truly reach that Gnostic state. Now let's talk about reaching a Gnostic state in terms of being a magical practitioner. When you are practicing magic, there's 2 different types. There's, low magic, there's high magic, and low magic has to do with just being able to recite, an incantation, or being able to do something quick. I mean, using an incense for a certain type of thought, or uttering a prayer, or just focusing yourself in, just grounding, things like that. That's low magic. High magic has to do with a lot of what's called psychodrama, where you create a ritual space, you create, or you work with and read from an elaborate ritual to really put yourself in that mental space. My phone was going off. Sorry for the interruption, even though it doesn't seem like that once I put this video together. So when you're talking about psychodrama and creating a giant ritual around which to reach that Gnostic state, you're talking about calling all of the quarters. You're talking about casting a magic circle. You're talking about invoking the different deities. You might have a giant incantation or a big piece of spell work, whether it's cutting a cord, tying a cord, making a picture, making a wax doll, burning it. There's so many different things in the realm of magic that you can do to really set yourself in that mindset where you're lost in the activity. Now, being lost in an activity, much like if you're driving and you kind of zone out, that in itself can kind of be like being in a Gnostic state. However, when you zone out and you are just focusing on that one thing and you don't really know it, you're in the Gnostic state, but you don't really know it because you're not present in that moment. It's kind of like when you're dreaming. Dreams just happen. You're not there. If you were to lucid dream, that can kind of be akin to a Gnostic state because you are aware of it. Now, when you're working with a high magic ritual and you are in that Gnostic state, time doesn't exist. Stuff flows for you going from one step to the other, but you don't care to look at a clock. You might look at a clock and look at it again in 6 hours from now, and you only felt like maybe 20 minutes, maybe even 20 seconds, depending on your perception. And that's what the Gnostic state is all about. When I was able to achieve the Gate of Arzir, and I really touched on that Gnostic state of just being in the moment, there's really nothing else like it, because you're off this planet. I'm just putting it out there. Now, I had my fiance do the same ritual, and she was asking a bunch of questions about it, and, when do I do this? When do I do that? And I was like, wait a minute, just go with me, because I didn't want to spoil it for her. And when I did the recitations of the different poems and the incantations, I basically ran the ritual and had her come along for the ride. When it came to that example, she hit that Gnostic state, given the amount of energy in the room and the amount of magic that was going on in the gate opening and the psychodrama. And when I was reading the last part of it, I looked over when I was reading it, I just looked up like this, and she hit it, and I could tell. The Gnostic state doesn't really come when we want it to, it just happens to hit you like a truck. And now, I know that I explained my tales of the Gnostic state as of recent, and I talked about how you could achieve that through meditation and ritual, different psychodrama, maybe using some substances. But the easiest way to go about it is to practice a magical system and to follow that magical system as high as you can take it. And if you really dedicate yourself to it and you work with the energies, the entities, and the deities in that system, you will hit that Gnostic state. I might digress here for a minute, but there's been a couple of times that I'm sure everybody has hit a Gnostic state. Have you ever been really, really, really insanely happy and you're running through your house, maybe going through the different tasks of the day, and you just happen to kind of lose yourself in that activity, even though you can kind of notice that, oh, I'm putting dishes away, or even I'm playing a video game and I'm really kicking ass right now. That is a Gnostic state. Once again, you're focusing on an activity. The ultimate Gnostic state is just to be there and to sit in that moment. It's almost like a buzz, and you just kind of hang out there. If you ever meditate and you find that you're able to just breathe for a little while, then you've kind of hit it. But it's the ability to both not be there and be there at the same time, where you're not there because you're not in the physical plane and you're not worried about anything, but you're there because you're enjoying it. It's almost like being on a roller coaster and you're not wondering how much longer you have, or you're not wondering what the next loop is going to be like, but you're just having a blast. It's kind of like that. So I hope this rant made sense, and I'm happy to be making another video, and we'll see where I go from here and when I get more time. the benefit is that the summer's coming, and I have 4 events lined up here on the East Coast when it comes to giving lectures on the Necronomicon. And unless my research is incorrect, I would be the first person to do such a thing since Simon, who edited and published the Necronomicon since the 1980s. So hit me up if you want to learn a little bit more about that, and you might live in the area, so you might be able to come and see me give a little bit of a informational splat on the Necronomicon and my travels and my teachings with magic. Once again, if anybody has any questions, comments, complaints, concerns, issues, or different things they want me to touch on, feel free to drop me a line, shoot me an email, priestofthenecro@gmail.com, and give me an idea for another video. Anyway, good hunting.